Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hammer Territory podcast. This is episode 224. I am your host, Brad Rowland, coming to you on a Sunday afternoon. In fact, the last show, barring news, of the month of June. And I don't know about you, Scott Coleman. I'm glad June's over, to be honest with you. It did not go very well for the Braves this month.
Hello, Brad. This is the current state of at least my personal Atlanta Braves fandom. As we were watching on Sunday, whatever it is the Braves tried to do in the batter's box, I had a spreadsheet open from Spotrac with the Braves contract obligations for 2026 and beyond. I was thinking what ways and what players they can acquire this offseason to improve second base and DH and maybe shortstop and help out the rotation. These are not things that I or anybody should be thinking about at the midway point here, a week before the 4th of July. It's just kind of where this Braves team is right now, and short of a borderline miracle, they are really swimming upstream right now.
They certainly are, and you just referenced it, but in between our last episode on the feed a few days ago and now, the halfway point has been crossed. The Braves have now played 83 games out of 162 this season. They are 38 and 45. That's not where you want to be, of course. They did win 3 series in a row earlier this month to kind of get off the mat after the disastrous stretch before that, in which you were, I would say, lucky enough to miss some of that in the great state of Hawaii where you were. Yeah. But since then, they've now split or lost the last 3 series, 2 losses and a split. And with that, they're back to not the low point of where they were. At one point, they were 10 games below 500 about 3 weeks ago. Now it's 7. So they've improved since then, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way at this point in time. And how about this? I figured this out today. They have now lost 6 consecutive Sunday games, Scott, and you and I talk on Sundays, generally speaking. 6 straight Sunday losses, even when they were playing well. They couldn't win on Sundays. I mean, it's a running joke. It has been for years, but 6 in a row? Come on, man.
Yeah, it's not quite. What season was it? Maybe 2019, where they lost on Mondays. Like they lost 14 consecutive Mondays or something crazy, something bizarre. Of course, there's no rhyme or reason to it, more than likely. But yeah, for years now, this team has been bad on Sundays. They've been awful on Sundays lately. And I think we just naturally kind of remember it. One, because you and I do a podcast, but also it's the end of a series. Usually the team is off on Monday. Everybody has a bad taste in their mouth for 48 hours until they get back out on the field. It's more memorable, I guess, than if they had lost consecutive Tuesdays or consecutive Wednesdays. Sundays just kind of sting a little bit more based on where they fall in the week.
It absolutely does. And, you know, I was certainly feeling sorry for us having to record. And I didn't mean to do that. It's fun for us to do podcasts most of the time. Some shows are not fun. It's work on occasion. This might be one of those shows, I have to say. But yeah, I mean, look, beyond the Sunday thing, they lose a 1-run game today that we'll talk about in a second. They fall to a NL worst 11 and 21 in 1-run games. So not only are they bad overall, they can't win a close game, and that combination is death. Like we've discussed this many times, but they basically have the profile of a 500-ish team, and they're 7 games below 500 because they can't win a close game. So a little bit of a kick in the nuts, you could say, to put a not so polite phrase on it. Today, you and I were talking during the game. You know, they go up 1-0. It's like, all right, here we go, 1-0 lead. And it's like, all right, this might be excruciating. And it was excruciating. I mean, even down to the 9th inning where they threaten. And once again, the bottom half of the lineup is a 0 most days. I don't mean that as a personal affront to anybody that's in the bottom half of the lineup. But when you look at the lineup and just, you know, even the box scores, it's like you don't have to look very far. Top 4 or 5 guys, usually kind of reasonable at times. Bottom 4 or 5 guys, not as much. And today was another example of that. And it's kind of like Groundhog Day. I mean, I feel bad for listeners too. Like we're trying not to repeat ourselves too much, but a lot of the same storylines are just happening over and over and over again.
And even the win on Saturday, as fun as it was, as awesome as the grand slam from Murphy, it was more of the same for 6 innings. They got nothing out of their rallies. Every run felt like the weight of the world to score just 1 run. And thank goodness there was that hanging breaking ball of all breaking balls that Murphy just launched to hit the grand slam and to put the game away. But the wins, few and far between. Can you talk about just complete offensive performances? And stop me if you've heard me say this before, but pitching has done its job. Other than Friday night, the pitching just about every night for really the whole season at this point. Maybe first couple weeks, the pitching was not very good, but maybe since May 1st, the pitching has absolutely done its job. This lineup just does not hit. They're not going to hit, I don't think. I hope I'm wrong. I hope in 3 weeks we're talking about a rejuvenated lineup with Profar and maybe Riley and Ozuna hit something and Albies resurrects his career and Michael Harris turns things around. But that feels like foolish hope at this point because there is nothing I see on a nightly basis that says, hey, Brad, just give it another day or two and everything's going to be fine. I think we are so far past that.
I would agree. And I think there was enough reason to believe coming into the season that last year was kind of an outlier. A lot of the data said that, even like stuff that is more underlying and more maybe quote unquote advanced than people might buy into. But the injuries that happen, not having Acuna, all these things you could have, we made a case, and I think it was a rational one, that a lot of the guys who had some down years last year were very logical bounce back candidates based on their history and also their underlying data and all those things. And then you look up and it's the end of June, it's the halfway point. It's a lot harder to make that case right now in a lot of different ways. I mean, without going player by player, and we might do that in a second, I think the month of June is a great example of the whole season so far. So just say this: they went 11-15 in June, right? June's now over. They're off on Monday. 11-15. That's bad enough, right? They did that while having to your point, strongly above average pitching performance in the month of June. They weren't elite like they were at times last year in the month of June, but they had a above average ERA, both in the National League and in the major leagues. It was a sub 4 ERA. That basically means you're allowing 3 to 4 runs every night. You're supposed to win a lot of games when you do that. Instead, they're 4 games under because of one thing, and they can't score runs.
Yep.
They have a 670 team OPS in the month of June, which is 26 games. That is 4th worst as of this moment, so it could change by tomorrow morning, but bottom 5 in baseball. Not National League, bottom 5 in baseball in OPS as a team, even with Rowland and Acuna putting up an 1100 plus and Matt Olson putting up like a 950 or whatever it was for the month. You understand how bad the rest of the team has to be for that to be the case? And that's where they were. I mean, we can, again, player by player can come in a second, but as a team, it's really the same story in the month of June that it was for the first 2 months of the season. Pitching, pretty good. Not elite, but pretty good. Hitting, just, it's awful. It really is. There's no other way to describe it.
And I'll say this about the lineup. If you look around Major League Baseball, outside of the truly elite teams and elite offenses, teams really do not have a great lineup 1 through 9.
Agreed.
It's rare. Other than like the 2023 Braves, who had like 1 through 9, everybody had career years. And the Yankees, Dodgers, teams with $1 billion payroll, they can do it. But for the most part, teams really rely on 4 or 5 or 6 players to get them home offensively. And then they have a player or 2 or 3 who have OPSs in the 600s. When you look at the Braves, yes, Michael Harris is awful. Yes, Ozzie Albies is awful. I honest to God wonder if Ozzie Albies might be out of baseball in like 2 or 3 years the way he looks right now. But that's a conversation for another day. Nick Allen can't hit. We knew he couldn't hit. Awesome defender. I don't really blame him at all.
No,
The catchers overall have been terrific. Braves have one of the best catching situations in the game, even if Murphy's been up and down and Baldwin had the stretch where he cooled down. But that leaves 4 players. And you just said how good Acuna was, and you just said how good Olson was. To me, while this lineup has a lot of issues, Austin Riley and Marcell Ozuna are far and away the biggest culprits of what is wrong with this baseball team. They are paid a ton of money, especially Austin Riley, and they have flat out sucked for 6, 7, 8 weeks now. They're not hitting for power. They're not hitting with runners in scoring position. They're not doing anything. And the Braves, with all the issues at the bottom of the order, I firmly believe that if Riley and Ozuna pick it up and hit like they're supposed to, and they hit like the player the Braves are paying them to hit like, the offensive woes would be not gone, but so minimalized compared to what we're watching every night. But those 2 players in particular are the key culprits because they're hitting behind Acuna and Olson, who are seemingly always on base, and it's a gigantic fart whenever those two come up to the plate because they're not hitting and the approach is bad. They're striking out too much. It's just bad. It's bad baseball from players the Braves cannot afford to be getting bad baseball from.
I would probably, not to flatten it out too much, I would probably include Ozzie and Harris and make it a 4-pack, to be honest.
For
As
sure.
far
They're
as like
terrible.
the guys that it's the four of them, like the guys that they're invested in. And Ozzie's, the investment level in Ozzie is actually way lower because of the great contract that he signed and all those things. But those four guys are all making real money. And yes, Riley and Ozuna have been better than the other two this season on the whole, but they're supposed to be, number one.
Yes.
And recently, I mean, I will say Ozuna has a bit of a get a jail free card for me. He is very obviously hurt right now. Maybe he shouldn't be playing. Like, I think it's hard to ignore that it just kind of came out one day that he has a torn hip and suddenly he couldn't hit anymore. And that's not a coincidence, I'd imagine. But you're right. Those four guys, or if you want to focus on whichever ones you want to, those four guys, the Braves have 7 spots on the diamond where they have big investments in. You know what I'm talking about? Like a player or a combination of players. 3 of them have been really good this year. Acuna when he came back, Olsen, and the catchers. Who, by the way, the Braves currently lead the National League in Fangraphs WAR catcher. They have the best catchers in the National League. Those 3 spots, perfect. The other 4 that they've invested in have been varying degrees of disaster. Yes, Austin Riley has been a league average hitter this season. That's fair to say. That's not what he's supposed to be. And also, he's making an error every other night defensively. So that's a tough combination. Marcel does nothing else. We all know that. And then the other 2 have been so bad that it's like nothing else they could do to help the team, basically. Harris's glove is still fine. But anyway, we've done this before. But again, just to wrap up this segment, in the month of June, it was exactly the same thing. Riley, a 660 OPS in the month of June. Ozuna, a 550 OPS in the month of June. Eli White kind of gets a pass, smaller role, but 533. Alex Verdugo, 462. Ozzie Albies, 528. And Michael Harris, who was benched, we'll talk about that in a second. Michael Harris finishes the month with a 426 OPS. Like impossibly bad stuff. So that's a lot of numbers for you, but it's the same takeaway. There are 3 spots that have been good, the other 6. But give Nick Allen a pass. We'll say the other 5 have just not been good enough. And perhaps Profar helps. I think he's going to help to some degree because it can't be worse in left field, knock on wood. But anyway, Scott, we'll get into the games for this weekend, probably in breezier fashion than we might normally because of what we just said about how this weekend went. That's coming up in a second, I promise you, after a word from our partners.
People liked this last time, so we're going to do it again. Read one of the fantastic, unique, creative dishes on HelloFresh. Creamy Alfredo truffle cavatappi pasta?
Cavatappi, maybe? But I'll just go with the Indian-inspired chicken paired with turmeric rice. That sounds awesome. And everything about this is delicious, fresh, comes in a little bag. And I like to cook, so I like to chop up the ingredients. I like to throw stuff in the pan, mix it up. It makes me feel like I'm doing something, Scott, and they always come out amazing.
Yes, you can be a star at home with America's #1 meal kit. Make your summer enjoyable and delicious by signing up for HelloFresh at HelloFresh.com/FT10FM and get 10 free meals with a free item for life. That's HelloFresh.com/FT10FM for 10 free meals and a free item in every box. 1 per box with an active subscription. Free meals are applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan.
Okay, Scott. Talk about some games, I guess. Quickly, the Braves are 10.5 games out of the East right now. It's a high watermark to come back from. Friday's game is like one that, under any normal circumstance, I would just tell you to throw away. Like occasionally, you just have a total stinker. If you missed this, it was 13-0. Like it was never competitive. It was over in 10 minutes. Usually, it's a throwaway game, and for the most part, I think it's going to be a throwaway game for me. But there's one takeaway we have to talk about, and that is Bryce Elder. Bryce Elder a couple weeks ago had a total career best kind of gem against the Giants, right? Gave him his flowers. He was really good in that outing. He'd been pretty good before that, was doing his job. On Friday night, he got 6 outs, not innings, outs. 10 runs allowed, 9 earned, plus a Riley error to get to the 10th. 3 home runs, 4 walks. Mark Bowman had this. Elder's the 3rd pitcher in Braves history to allow 9 runs or more earned in 2 innings or less. It's happened once since 1957. It was Aaron Blair, old friend of the podcast. Aaron Blair did this in 2016. So, look, it's one outing, granted, but it's not just one outing. It's now 3 in a row for Elder, and that's why I wanted to get to. There isn't much they can do about this. The rotation is painfully thin right now, but boy, we went from kind of being like, all right, Elder in the 5 spot, you can live with this, to like suddenly it might be kind of a 5-alarm fire because 3 starts in a row with a 15 ERA in those 3 outings. What do we do about this?
Well, this is what you do about it, Brad, and everybody listening. You make dinner plans when Bryce Elder is set to pitch every 5th day, because thankfully I had dinner plans with my wife on Friday.
You told me that, yeah.
I opened up my phone. I forget what time it was. Of course, I'm on the West Coast, but I opened up my phone and it was 8-0. And
it was like, all right, and we're back to dinner. Yeah.
I think I just sat there in silence looking at my phone for maybe like 10 seconds and then just closed out my MLB app and went about the rest of my night. I watched not a single pitch of that game.
Hey, spoiler as someone who did watch it, it was over. It was over in a hurry. Again, it was 10-0 before you could blink an eye. I mean, it was one of those games where there's no takeaway. It was just that he was so bad. And yeah, the Phillies are good. So whatever. But and I'm sure it's worth noting that these 3 starts weigh a lot. But he now has a 5.82 ERA and a 5.28 FIP in 13 starts. And we're back to where we were a year ago with Elder, where it was like, they can't do this anymore. This year, unfortunately, they don't really have an alternate option. He'd have to pitch this bad for probably 2 or 3 more starts before you go to AAA and just find the random guy to put in there, like your J.R. Ritchies, or maybe it's Waldrop, whatever it's going to be. Also, you have Fuentes, we'll talk about in a second, who probably isn't ready, and we kind of knew that. But at least with Fuentes, he's got great stuff. He's young. It's more interesting, is maybe the word that I would use, to watch him pitch.
Yeah.
Like, with Elder, he's never been a stuff guy anyway. And when he's getting shell and there's no upside, it's like, oh man, this is hard to watch. So I was jealous of you on Friday, I have to say. But I mean, they got shut out in the game too. It wouldn't have mattered. They got 9 hits and left 11 on base and still got shut out, which is kind of funny. But it didn't matter at all. I mean, it was a blowout because of Elder, and I don't know what to do. I mean, I feel not bamboozled, but I really wanted to give Bryce Elder the benefit of the doubt because we've been low on him forever. That's well documented. But also, while saying that, he's organizational depth. That's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I know he made the All-Star team, but that's just what he is. And now, man, I wanted him to be not even great, just like acceptable. And
sure,
he hasn't been for a couple weeks.
And honestly, from the start of the season to, up until that Giants start, Bryce Elder was acceptable.
Yep,
and
totally.
Everybody was scared. No one's like, oh, baby, it's Bryce Elder night. Here comes 7 scoreless. But you didn't feel like you were drawing dead. We've seen how bad Bryce Elder is. I'm sure there's been a little bit of an advanced scout on what he wants to do and what makes him successful this year. And teams are just killing him. It's just, but there's no one else. I mean, that was basically the TLDR of the emergency episode on Chris Sale we did a couple of weeks ago. There is nobody else in Gwinnett. Yep. I honestly wonder if the Braves, by some miracle, get close and get closer into the wild card and Sale needs some more time. I honestly wonder if they just run bullpen games every 5th day, because that sure as hell gives you a better chance than what Bryce Elder is giving you every 5 days.
Yeah, and the Braves do have that number we've been talking about a lot on the show recently, whether it's us or Steven and Sean, about how they have been like league low in bullpen innings. They've done a good job, or maybe even an overly aggressive job at times, saving the bullpen. I think that's always been his MO. He kind of proactively saves the bullpen in a way that's kind of like, all right, well, why don't you win the game today? But some of that work can be beneficial if you need to be a little bit more aggressive. And look, no matter who they bring up from Gwinnett, if they do that, if whether it's for Fuentes or Elder or whatever, if they go deeper into the organization, that person isn't going to throw 7 innings probably. Yeah. Like you're going to have that turns into an effective bullpen game a lot of the time if you do that.
For sure. Is Hurston Waldrop ready to go through a major league lineup 2 or 3 times? I don't think so. And I think everybody around the Braves will tell you. But could Hurston Waldrop, with his splitter and his command, which has gotten a little better this year with some mechanical adjustments, could Hurston Waldrop throw 2 innings? Or could he throw 3 innings against an order with basically a hard stop of He's going to go through the lineup one time, and short of him throwing a no-hitter, he's coming out of the game kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you blindly said, all right, Scott, for all the money in the world, would you rather do that, Waldrop for a couple innings and then the bullpen, or send Bryce Elder out there? I would take the hybrid bullpen game 10 times out of 10 before I would keep giving Elder regular starts.
Yep, that was the only thing from Friday. I mean, again, it was a washout of a game. What are you going to do? Saturday was more fun. It was the first game of the quote-unquote second half of the season. Our guy, especially Schwellenbach, on the mound, throwing another gem, striking out 12. Just one day, I think, after he spoke to the guys at Foul Territory. We posted that in our feeds, actually, if you are a subscriber, especially did like 15 minutes with the Foul Territory guys. He's always fun to hear from. I enjoy Spencer's personality. He was good on that show. Listen to that if you haven't already. But he comes out and just like, he's obviously the headliner. I know Murphy hits the biggest swing of the game with the grand slam, but Schwellenbach was just dominant, man. Like, I have nothing else to add to it. Just like, he was so good, 12 strikeouts. Like, he's been incredible.
Yeah. One of the best pitchers in baseball, and has been for about a calendar year now. Schwellenbach, he is so complete on the mound. 6 pitches whenever he wants them. He has double-digit strikeouts now in 3 games this year. I believe that leads the major leagues in double-digit strikeout games this season. That's crazy. And I know we talk about Schwellenbach and just the meteoric rise that he's had, but the fact the Braves took a college two-way player, he had Tommy John, and 2 years later, he is legitimately one of the 10, 15, 20 best pitchers in baseball. A certified ace is crazy, and one of the few truly positive developments this team has seen over the last 18 months.
He's been incredible. I mean, it is a great story. He should probably be an all-star. I mean, that's not our beat necessarily, but I think if you look at the numbers, like I think he's top 10 now among starting pitchers in Fangraphs WAR. I don't know if he still is today, but as of yesterday, he was leading the majors in innings. Like, that's not an easy thing to do, man, for a younger guy in particular. And he had the slow start for him. Like, he wasn't like getting killed, but it wasn't like he was dominating. But now it's like, oh, we're back to last year. He's just absolutely crushing. He never walks anybody, which I always appreciate more than everybody. I just love guys that don't walk people. I don't know. He was awesome. Nothing else to add. Just listen to that episode with that bonus show, because Spencer was, for me, probably the easy bright spot of the entire weekend. You could argue for Sean Murphy with his 2 home runs. He's the only other competition, I would say, to Spencer. And Murphy, I said it before, but the grand slam was the biggest swing. They were already winning. It was 2-1, but it was not a comfortable lead at that point. Grand slam absolutely destroyed. Like, numbers were crazy. 114 miles an hour, 455 feet. If you watched it, it was just like absolutely wrecked. He homered again today. So Sean Murphy, much maligned. And look, I get it. He actually earned it. Like, he had the hot start this year. He's not been very good for, like, I don't know, 6 weeks, 8 weeks until this weekend. His overall production is still totally fine, especially at catcher. But Murphy having 2 big swings is nice to see. I mean, if I literally saw today, after he homered in the game, people were tagging us about how bad he is, which I always find funny. But, it is what it is. Just to you, Sean. That was a huge. Honestly, that swing on Saturday was awesome, though. National TV, like, it's like, oh, that was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Crowd, yeah, Saturday night, full crowd behind the plate went nuts. I mean, it was so cool. Finally, the big swing, and good on Murph. And you know what, Brad, as we're sitting here talking, if this team is serious about trying to turn things around this year, I think they have to do 2 things on, well, I would say on Tuesday, but really it's more Wednesday to coincide with Jurickson Profar. Number 1, they have to change up this lineup. It is not working. Tweeted about it. Steven and I talked about it in the lead on Thursday. I know Acuna is the best leadoff hitter in the world, but him batting with nobody on base is helping no one. And Matt Olson hitting with nobody on base other than Acuna is helping no one. Move those guys back. And then this is part 2. I think you have to put Marcell Ozuna on the injured list. Now, if it's a torn hip, 10 days, 15 days, 20 days on the IL is not going to fix a torn hip. Almost certainly he's going to need surgery of some kind. But right now, with Ozuna carrying an OPS in the 500s for a month, you have to find a way to get Drake Baldwin in there every night. And I would take a healthy Sean Murphy, who can at least run into a grand slam, than what Ozuna's doing. And then I think you could have some real depth in your lineup. Maybe it turns Ozuna's season around, give him 2 weeks off his feet and see if he can do something in the second half. But if they're serious about it, you have to have Baldwin in your lineup every night, but you can't just bench Sean Murphy. So I think the easiest way to do that would be to give Marcell 2 weeks off his feet, see if the hip gets any better, see if he's feeling any better. Get Murphy in there, get Baldwin at the top of the order with his on base, get Profar at the top of the order with his on base, and see if anything changes, because we're watching the same damn story every single night.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I get it. Like, I know you're not doing this, but I don't want to act like Ozuna taking a break is going to help him. We just don't know, and we just have no idea.
Sure,
but it can't hurt him, so we'll see. And he looks awful, and it's not like if he didn't have the injury that we knew about, we were probably like, what is going on with Marcell Ozuna? Like, it'd be this baffling thing, but we kind of know. I mean, he's hurt. Like, he's an older guy who's hurt.
One other note I wanted to make. I was looking this up. Last season, the final 40 games of 2024, Marcell Ozuna hit 2 home runs. 2. He had something like 38 home runs before then and had 2 homers after August 20th. And he's also 34, going to be 35 years old. And really, there are not a ton of really good hitting hitters in general, regardless of position, once you get to your mid-30s. So I do wonder if we're now seeing a combination of both the age cliff as well as this hip injury, because there were some mildly concerning signs towards the end of last year that really was the final quarter of the season. It wasn't like he had a bad final 10 days. Of course not. That can be fluky, but for about 25% of last year and then this season, the walks are great, but he's just not driving the ball with any kind of consistency.
Yeah, we did note that over the winter, and him having a slugging percentage of 397. Like, if you're a full-time DH that can't run or do anything else, you can't slug sub 400. Like, you just can't do it. And the OBP is great. Like you just said, what's it right now? 373. Like, he's second on the team in OBP. Like, that, you can live with that. But man, the lack of power from him is kind of jarring.
Should they put Marcell ahead of Acuna and Olsen? I mean,
that's the profile. He's currently this year's profile of Marcell has been a top of the order guy, not a middle of the order guy, which is weird because he can't run. I get that he can't run, but he gets on base. So,
and I get it. If you're only leading off once, you're only hitting second once, then it's just the guys getting the most at bats. When I tweet about the lineup stuff, people respond, and trust me, I fully get it. But what do you have to lose? This team is 8 games back in the wild card with 5 teams ahead of them. The NL East is effectively over. They're 10.5 games out of the East, behind 2 good teams.
I'm about to say behind 2 teams, not 1.
Yeah, right. With 3 months to go. I mean, they have to go at like 125 win pace the rest of the way. This team, as currently constructed, is not going to win 125 games in the second half of the year.
We got a little news on the lineup, so I'll just shove this up now. I don't know if you saw this in real time. Mark Bowman just tweeted, I presume from the post game, that Snit say he's either going to he's likely to have Profar bat, quote, somewhere in the middle of the lineup. So not high in the lineup, apparently. I think Profar's entire profile would be to be at the top of the order, as we discussed all winter long, but apparently that's not the plan. We'll see if that's actually true, but that's what Snit said today. So we don't agree with that. I think it's fair to say.
We'll see when they score 1 run in 4 out of their next 7 games again. We'll talk about it next weekend here.
It'll come up
on the podcast.
If it hadn't been that topic, I would have just waited for the end of the show, but that was kind of funny. And just while we're here, Profar is scheduled to come back. I believe it's Wednesday, July 2nd is when he's allowed to play. Maybe is that July 1st? One of those days. Wednesday, Thursday of this week, he'll be back, barring a rain out or something like that. So I know everybody hates Profar. I get it, but he's better than the guys he's replacing. I'm pretty confident in that. So
yes,
we will see. All right, Scott, a little bit more to get to about all kinds of things, including Sunday's loss, and a look ahead at the week to come after a word from our partners.
Kratz, real talk. I do not carry cash around me, but what I do carry around on my phone is Cash App.
Easy peasy. Like I said before, anytime Scott can pay for the tab, that is good. And it's always right there. Fast, easy, always available.
Yeah. Oh, my credit card's not working, or oh, I didn't bring cash with me. There's no more alligator arms. Do you have your phone? Most people have their phone. So use Cash App. It's secure and safe. There's no waiting around. It is a super, super easy sign-up process. You can sign up quicker than you can listen to Kratz and I talk about Cash App. For a limited time only for the FT fam, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, no catch. Just download Cash App and sign up. Use our exclusive referral code TERRITORY in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App.
All right, Scott. Sunday's game, not the best. I have one note from Saturday that kind of has to do with Sunday as well. First, Michael Harris finally got benched over the weekend. Look, it didn't change anything in itself, but he had started 80 of the first 81 games. I forgot this, honestly. I even had it wrong in a tweet and I had to delete. He actually didn't start against the Dodgers in the 7th or 8th game of the season when they were 0-7, whatever they were. He didn't start. He played in that game, but he had started like 75 in a row or whatever it was. He finally sat, and the reason why, I think, beyond his just bad season, is that it was getting worse. In the 47 plate appearances before he was benched, he had a slash line of 0.67, 0.85, 0.89.
Ooh.
He had a sub 200 OPS over about 2 weeks. And again, it was already been bad, but it had gotten worse. And whatever, if that made them pull the plug or whatever, he wasn't optioned. He was just benched. He actually got into the game on defense on Saturday. There was some people may find this, it wasn't just my idea, but there was some deep irony. Eli White started the game Saturday in center field and walked in his first plate appearance, which made everybody laugh. Because Harris still hasn't walked, by the way. That stat we keep throwing out there he still hasn't walked since the previous years. Anyway, we'll see. We kind of called for this. It happened. That's the only takeaway. It's like, is this going to fix anything? We don't know. But it's basically 3 days off. He played defense for an inning or two yesterday. Didn't play it all today. They're off tomorrow. Will he be in the lineup on Tuesday? I have no idea.
I don't know. I think my guess is that this was more of a platoon thing in an effort to get anything
I just found out that
it.
he's facing a lefty on Tuesday. I'm going to guess he's not playing against a lefty on Tuesday. That's my guess.
That would be my guess as well. And that would mean, so you have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's 4 full days where Michael Harris is basically not playing. This is a bigger discussion about Michael Harris's future than trying to decide if Eli White in his batting glove against a lefty are better than Michael Harris in his batting glove against a lefty. This is about trying to get Michael Harris's career back on track. And hey, if it means that for 4 or 5 days you're going to give him a mental breather and just see if you can do anything. Even like Buster Olney's podcast had a segment about how bad Michael Harris is.
It's wild. I mean, we got to the point where it is a national story. It actually is, because this is he won Rookie of the Year. Like, it wasn't like this is a guy that only Braves fans understand. Obviously, he's more popular and well known in Atlanta than he would be anywhere else. It's baseball. It's kind of a regional sport at this point. This was the National League Rookie of the Year, and a guy they extended. Like, this is a big story. How bad? I mean, it's impossibly bad. He's been the worst hitter in the National League. Like, it's not a. I had someone say the other day to us, I think I don't remember if it was an email or whatever. It was like, we're making too much of this. Like, no, we are not. In fact, we're being very responsible. People are going much harder at Michael than we are, but it's just noting the numbers and where he has been this season. It's been very bad, and hopefully it gets corrected. But look, if you want to be a pessimist, you can be. And like, the issue is not really his physical capability; it's that he can't recognize pitches and know which ones to swing at. That doesn't get fixed in 3 days. It doesn't. So we'll see.
I honest to goodness wonder if Michael cannot see the baseball. Like famously at this point, Max Muncy with the Dodgers got prescription glasses. He wore contacts. He got prescription glasses that he wears now. And ever since he did that, he's been crushing the baseball. It turns out he couldn't see spin rate and he couldn't see movement on the ball. And it's such a difficult game. Even if you have the best vision in the world, it is so hard to make a split-second decision as to whether or not to swing, what type of pitch is coming, everything that goes into hitting. I honestly wonder if Mike is having problems seeing the baseball. I don't know if prescription sport glasses are going to do a damn thing, but why not, man? Like, change your hands, change your feet, swing harder, change your bat, wear glasses, whatever. You just can't keep going like this. That is We are at the point now where there are no bad ideas when trying to get his career back on track.
Yep, and like we said before in previous episodes, it could be that he's optioned and he goes to Gwinnett like that. I know he has the big contract, but he has minor league options, and he's within the years of service where he can go down unilaterally. The Braves could just say, "You're going down." It's not you don't have to ask him. You're going down. That's possible. I'm not sure if they're going to do it. They haven't yet, but yeah, you're 100% right. And maybe it's when Profar comes back, you have more freedom to do that. I think that Alex Verdugo is quite bad as well. At least White can run and play defense. We'll see. All right.
So long, buddy.
Yeah. Moving on from that. Briefly on Sunday, I mean, the most straight ahead Braves loss of the season. It's just like it's the same thing every day. 2-1 loss. Pitcher pitches well. Strider wasn't his dominant self. Didn't have his best stuff, but still, you look up at 7 innings, 2 runs. You can't ask much more from than that from him. Anything that sticks out to you about Strider's performance today? I mean, he's been good lately. It was not his crispest, but like he got the job done.
Looks really good. Feels like we are just about all the way back with Spencer now, and that's notable because a month ago there were some real concerns. But every start, even if he doesn't have his A1 stuff, which you alluded to, Spencer's getting results, and he continues to get strikeouts. Really, other than a 10-pitch sequence in the 5th inning today, he really didn't have a ton of trouble. He had the bases loaded in the 1st inning, but other than that, it was not a smoke and mirrors by any means, and finished the game strong. The velocity continues to hold up pretty well, so I feel like we're in a good place with Spencer Strider. Feel great about Schwellenbach. God willing, let's hope Chris Sale's ribs get back soon because we need him like I don't even know what. But yeah, I mean, right now you just try to win every time a Spencer takes the mound or a Grant Holmes take the mound, and then you pray when Elder or Fuentes or whoever else is on the mound that night.
Yeah, I saw people like not complaining, but like I don't know, scuffling about Strider today, and it's like, guys, I know they lost 2-1. They had the lead, and he quote unquote gave the lead up, but like you cannot expect the pitcher to throw straight out every night. You just can't. You got to score runs. They scored 1 run today. It was a Sean Murphy home run. They did threaten in the 9th inning. They had 2 on for Stuart Fairchild, and people were like, "Why is he hitting?" I'm like, "Why isn't he hitting?" Like, it's not that he's any good, but they had nobody to go. They had nobody to go to. It's the bottom. The bottom of the order is what it is. We already litigated that, but people, I don't think Stitt did anything wrong there. They'd already used Baldwin.
Yeah,
there was nobody to go to.
And Luke Williams was now the shortstop.
Was already in the game at shortstop, and also he can't hit anyway. Like your options were Harris and Verdugo against the lefty. Like they made the right choice to go with Fairchild. It's just that, and by the way, he had decent contact. Hit the ball on the warning track. It wasn't like he got embarrassed. It just didn't work out, and no one had confidence. I mean, I didn't have confidence in what was going to happen there, but they at least threatened. They gave it a run in the 9th, and look at as seemingly always they had 6 hits in the game. 3 of them were by Ronnie and Olsen. At the top of the order, 1-2, and then the bottom half, I think, had 1 hit combined. So it is what it is. Nothing else to add for me. You have anything else on Sunday? Nothing?
I think we have had that exact same conversation about 45 times.
It's Groundhog Day. It really is. We can move on. We mentioned Profar back this week. Daysball Hernandez started a rehab assignment today in Gwinnett, actually on the road for Gwinnett. But he's been out for about 4 weeks now with a forearm inflammation issue. It's good that it wasn't worse. I mean, usually you start worrying about forearm stuff, but if he's rehabbing now, that's good. I think Daysbell is not fantastic, but if he's healthy, I presume he'll be back in the rotation, in the bullpen when he is able to physically, is my guess.
Yeah. I mean, he's better than what some of the other options in this bullpen right now. And we talked about Daysbell quite a bit. Needs more swing and miss, needs more strikeouts. And hopefully, even if he was pretty solid on a results basis the first 2 months of the year, there was some significant smoke and mirrors with that. And if he can give the Braves a lively right-handed arm out of there to mix in with Iglesias, who has calmed down a bit. I think Rysel has been okay the last couple weeks. Still not great, but De Los Santos, Montero, they've been fine. So yeah, if you can get them, and then Pierce Johnson's been really good, I would happily have Daysbell back. And you're absolutely right. It's a good news that it was not a serious forearm injury, because usually you see those and you go, well, see you in 2026, because that's going to be a surgery of some kind.
Yeah, knock on wood, but Iglesias has not allowed a run since June 5th. So like 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I believe that's I think it was 8 appearances since then without allowing a run. Like, he's been good.
Honestly, since he stopped throwing that damn slider, he's
Yeah.
been a lot better. Imagine
So
that.
we're not saying everything's solved there or that he's back to his old form, but he has been notably better. And yeah, Montero's gotten a lot of crap from us and myself included. He's been pretty good lately too. So bullpen's not the problem. At least it hasn't been. At least it hasn't been for a while here. But Days Bell would be a welcome addition when he is ready to go. And we mentioned it before, but as we sign off here, they're off on Monday. Then they are home for the Angels for 3 games, and then the Orioles come to town after that. The Angels are currently, as we're talking, a 500 baseball team. Now they're 41 and 41. The Braves have a run differential that is 58 runs better than the Angels, despite the Angels being much better in the standings than the Braves. They're not a special team. They're okay. They're not terrible. The Orioles are kind of like the American League Braves this year, where they came in with real buzz and projections, and they've been awful. The Orioles are actually worse than the Braves this season, which takes some doing. They are 36 and 47 on the year, so 2 games behind the Braves. So in theory, Scott, an opportunity to get some wins. That's also something that we said many times. They have not been dominating these. And look, this is not the Rockies. These teams are not bad. This isn't the Rockies or the White Sox. But these are teams that you can, at home, you're favored against in a lot of these games. The Spencers and Grant Holmes in particular. But this first series against the Angels, it's all 3. It's Fuentes, Holmes, and Elder. It's hard to be like, yeah, sweep them with those 3 on the mound. I mean, maybe they will, but you can't project that, I wouldn't say.
So what Brad is saying is everybody should make dinner plans on Thursday night, so you don't have to watch. Now, yeah, we'll see. It is a winnable week ahead for the Braves. Will they win? Who knows? Who's to say, Brad? Will they score more than 1 run in any of these baseball games? It is a real question. But an opportunity now. The schedule does lighten up quite a bit the next few weeks. Maybe, just maybe, with 2 weeks to go before the All-Star break, this team could run off a stretch of, 10-3 to make them feel like they're really in it before that 4-game or 4-day break for the All-Star festivities. We'll see. It's probably fool's hope, fool's errand. But yeah, Angels are beatable. Orioles are beatable. The pitching is not great. I think we are seeing the 3 best starters that the Angels have to offer, whereas the Braves are throwing their 3 worst. But maybe Profar brings some life into this team. Maybe they shake things up with the lineup. Who knows? But yes, an opportunity ahead for the team this upcoming week.
Got to score in these games. I mean, the best pitcher of the 3 is Grant Holmes, pretty clearly. And he's also facing Yusei Kikuchi for the Angels, who's very good. So the other 2 games, you better score. Like, it's not like breaking any ground here, but you got to score more than 1 run per game, or you're not going to be winning a lot of baseball games. Scott, we've done it. We managed to get to 40 minutes without crying on the air. I can't say the same for Sean and Steven later on this week if things go badly, but we'll see how this goes. And look, I know everyone's clamoring for deadline content. We're going to have plenty of it. What we have done some already. What we can't really do on June 29th is talk about the deadline every episode because it's still 4 weeks, actually 4.5 weeks away. And, it's going to be the same thing. It's like, will they or won't they sell? Will they or won't they buy? We get it. I promise you we get it. But when Alex comes out and says we're not selling flat out, you got to wait for something to change because that's not off the table, I wouldn't say. We know Alex has been creative with his comments in the past, but I think that they're trying to buy. I think they're hoping to be able to buy. Is that fair? They're hoping to be able to buy by winning some more games between now and then.
Yeah, I mean, yes. And I mean, frankly, as we have talked about, this team does not have a lot to sell, even if they want to sell. Yes, we promise.
There's not a month worth of content with the selling guys. It's like, oh, here are 3 guys that could sell. That's it.
I promise everyone, maybe over the All-Star break, where there's 4 days of downtime, maybe we'll do a mailbag where people can send in questions, or we'll just kind of break down the roster as, could be traded, won't be traded. Could they, we always get rumors too from people around the league of, this reliever's available, and Atlanta is one of 8 teams that have made a call about him. We'll do that, we promise. But yes, we'll get to July. Maybe, just maybe, this team can try to turn this boat around before they get too far out in the ocean. But not a great weekend at home against Philly. Not a great week in general. You talk about winning the first 2 games on Monday and Tuesday in New York. It was like, damn, all right, are the Braves finally doing this? And then they lose
No.
4 out of 5. And yeah, not great.
The answer was no to that question. Are the Braves finally doing this? No, they are not. Could they do it again? Yes, but not so much. By the way, so maybe we talked about Sunday to bring things full circle here at the end of the podcast. They've lost 6 in a row on Sundays. We know this. This coming week, Scott, the Braves play at 11:35 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday.
Oh,
perhaps it's I think it's one of those Roku games, one of those weird TV.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's what they need on a Sunday to shake it up. To have Scott still be in bed, roll over 8:35, and be like, "Hey, baseball's on Sunday." Maybe that's going to be what they need. I don't know, man. But a shake up of some sort a week from today.
You know what I just realized? We need to do a live show at Truist Park this week when Charlie Morton
Oh yeah,
makes
I'm ready.
his return and
Trust me,
starts
I'm
against
ready.
the Braves. A 3-hour Brad Rowland solo extravaganza talking about Chuck Morton.
He may not go. The only reason why I didn't bring it up already because he may not go this weekend. If he does, I'm gonna be sad. But hey, I mean, Steve and Sean talked about him, or maybe you guys did. I can't remember. Morton is like a potential trade candidate for the Braves. Just saying. He's making too much money still for it now, but if you take on some of his salary, and he's been better lately, and I can't talk about this. Don't give me hope, Scott. Don't give me
We
hope.
know that Alex loves a reunion. Frankly, he rarely makes
Too much.
moves that aren't. Yeah. I'm like,
I mean,
dude, there's a lot of
I
baseball
think-
players out there.
I think Alex has done a good job overall. One thing he probably is too prone to doing is the reunion. See Rosario, Eddie from this season.
I was going to say, after 3 years of being the worst player in baseball, you didn't think Eddie Rosario was going to solve some problems, Brad?
I did not, and he did not. All right, Scott, let's get out of here. Anything to plug on the way out? Are we good? We're safe?
Nothing to plug. God bless everybody for tuning into the shows, even as the team is putting us through our mental sanity every single night. Thank you for tuning in. It really does mean a lot to us.
It does. We encourage you to keep doing it. And I half jokingly, but also kind of seriously say, if you don't want to hate listen after a loss or something, just download or click. It does help us. Even if you don't want to, if you want to support the show, that's the way to do it. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, subscribe, tell your friends. I'm sure you have Braves fan friends in your life. They have not found the show yet. Have them give us a chance. Even in this dark period for the team, we would appreciate anyone new joining the podcast as well. Follow us as well on social media at Hammer Territory. Follow Scott at Scott Coleman 55. I am at BT Rowland if you want to follow me there as well. Thanks for listening, everybody. We definitely appreciate it. And we'll see you all next time.